In Chapter 35 of Yoga Vasistha, we will discuss topics such as the body as a machine, the infinite expanse of ignorance, the Supreme Father of the Trinity, Chaitanya Mahadev, true worship, the invocation and cessation of the lamp, and the omnipresent form of consciousness. So, O Rama, listen closely today. We're stepping right into some truly profound wisdom together, exploring the very nature of reality, illusion, and the path to ultimate salvation. Here is our roadmap for this explainer. First, the body as a machine. Second, the infinite expanse of gross ignorance. Third, Chaitanya Mahadev as the Supreme Father. Fourth, true worship of the lamp. And finally, omnipresent consciousness and our summary.
Section 1. The body as a machine. To really grasp what consciousness is, we first have to figure out what is decidedly not conscious. Verses 7 and 8 lay this fascinating foundation for dismantling our physical pride. Just look at the imagery here. This physical vessel that we obsess over so much, it's completely inert. It's literally just a complex machine, and it's driven entirely by prana, the vital breath. Think of it like the wind driving a windmill. There's absolutely no inherent consciousness in the gears themselves. We can break this down on 3 levels. First, literally, the body operates mechanically. Second, philosophically, it's entirely empty without the conscious self illuminating it. And third, practically, if we want to achieve salvation, we actually have to stop identifying ourselves as this temporary physical machine.
Look at this stark contrast. On one hand, you've got the mechanical, decaying nature of the physical body. On the other hand, there's the eternal, totally unchanging nature of the conscious self. So why do we suffer? Well, it's because we mix the two up. We accidentally attribute the eternal nature of the soul to a machine that's built to break down. Okay, moving on to Section 2, infinite expanse of gross ignorance. Once we detach from the physical body, we have to face the mind's absolute grandest trick. Before we look at the next verses, we really need to define gross ignorance. This is that dense, heavy veil that traps the mind in the endless cycle of rebirth. It's the exact mechanism that takes this temporary mechanical world and makes it look like it's the absolute, eternal reality. Now hear the wisdom of verses 18 and 19. They declare the sheer vastness, but also the absolute uselessness of this cosmic illusion. The text uses a really powerful visual here, an endless mirage in the desert. A mirage can look massive, right? It covers the entire horizon. But if you're dying of thirst, it's totally useless. It can't give you even a single drop of actual water.
And that brings us to a really crucial point. While ignorance seems infinite and terrifying to the mind, realizing its fundamental uselessness is the very sword that cuts right through it. Literally, the illusion seems endless. Philosophically, it binds the unawakened mind in these loops of desire. But practically speaking, the exact moment you deeply realize this worldly illusion offers zero true sustenance, just like that mirage, the illusion just begins to dissolve.
Section 3, Chaitanya Mahadev, Supreme Father. So, with the false world of the body and the mirage of Maya exposed, we elevate our gaze to the ultimate reality. You have to understand Chaitanya Mahadev not as some worldly king sitting on a physical throne, but as the supreme animating consciousness behind literally all existence. Chaitanya actually means consciousness. This is the formless divine reality that exists before the universe, before time, and yep, even before the gods themselves. Verse 21 reveals something huge. This supreme consciousness is the true origin, the father of even the sacred trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. The text is totally unequivocal here. All the divine forms we could ever conceptualize are born from this one formless consciousness. Breaking this down, the literal truth is that it is the source of the Trinity. Philosophically, it's the ultimate cosmic animator. And practically, the teaching is urging us not to get lost worshiping temporary creations, but to seek a direct, unbroken connection with the Creator itself. Section 4, True Worship of the Lamp. This naturally begs the question, if the Supreme is formless consciousness, how do we actually worship it properly? In this context, avahana, or invocation, is an internal awakening. It's a sacred calling of the divine directly into the altar of your own mind. It's not about ringing bells or offering physical flowers to a stone statue. It's the highly conscious act of realizing the divine is already seated right there in your own heart.
Verses 23 and 24 completely reframe what true worship actually looks like. It's a twofold internal process. First, it's the lighting of inner awareness, bringing the divine into crystal clear focus. And second, it's extinguishing the lamp of ego and worldly desires.
Notice the massive difference here. External worship relies on fleeting physical offerings, things that wither, decay, and ultimately belong to that inert machine we talked about earlier. True worship, though, demands the permanent extinguishing of your ego. It's not just something you do for 10 minutes on a Sunday. It is the absolute dissolution of the false self.
Section 5. Omnipresent Consciousness and Summary. We've finally arrived at the culmination of this teaching. When that ego is totally gone, what's left?
In verse 25, we're told that once that inner lamp of ego is extinguished, you will see omnipresent consciousness seamlessly woven through absolutely everything. Without the blinding glare of selfish desires getting in the way, the subtle, all-pervading light of Chaitanya Mahadev becomes visible in every single atom of existence. So, literally, consciousness is everywhere. Philosophically, that boundary you felt between you and the divine was just a mirage all along. And practically, it means you can walk through life in unbroken, detached awareness, completely free from suffering.
Let's do a quick summary of our journey through Chapter 35 today. We started by deconstructing the physical body, recognizing it as just lifeless machinery. Then, we bypassed the vast, useless mirage of gross ignorance. We recognized Chaitanya Mahadev as the supreme source. We fundamentally redefined worship as an internal invocation and the cessation of ego. And finally, we awakened to the realization of omnipresent consciousness.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to meditate on, Rama. If the supreme consciousness is already everywhere, and the source of all reality is already seated right inside you, what single illusion of the mind are you still choosing to hold on to today? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep awakening.